Hi, Nastasia. How you doing? All right. Final logo looks, I think it looks fantastic. I think it's really interesting because it can be kind of depicted, it can be depicted as the buildings downtown, and it can also be depicted as the mountains with the sun either rising or setting. So that's just fantastic. And then this, of course, as we indicated, is the sports slopes. And that's great too. I think the logo definitely looks great with the Cap D. Definitely much better. Wondering if you tried to work some color into the logo. I'm sorry, into the word mark itself, Denver 2020-22. Um, just wondering how that would look in one of these colors, blue, maybe that dark blue right there. As far as your typesetting goes for the logo itself, I would put a little space between Denver and 2022. Just open that up just a little bit. That 2 is right on top of that R, and it kind of creates this unusual visual tension right there. So I would definitely give a little space between there. I still think the rings are too big. I do. I think that the rings are a little bit too large. I would reduce the size of those rings to something about like that. Same placement right underneath Denver. The other thing I would suggest is, and I know we talked about the placement between the mark itself and the type, but I think that Denver 20, I think that the cap line here is a little bit far from the logo. I would just move that up. When I say a little bit, I mean just a few pixels. Move Denver, that whole word mark up there, just move it up a little bit, and then reduce the size of the rings and move those a little bit closer to Denver. What we're doing here is we're going to create some connections by proximity. Instead of this right now can almost be viewed as 3 separate items: the logo, the mark itself, the type, and the rings. So we get those a little bit closer together in proximity, and the mind will visually group those as one. And I think that will definitely help. As far as placement goes, there's one thing I would recommend here. Now, I think your background patterns are very, very interesting, but you're going straight from this presentation as your final logo full color to just showing in white on the pattern background. So I would definitely make a transition there and talking about how this logo can be used in white or black or a solid color on an image, or different ways that you can use the logo itself. So that this jump right here from this to this makes sense. Okay, I see you've got the color version there, and I just want to jump in there a little bit. I want to see how that looks. A little pixelated, so it's difficult to tell, but I think it'll look fine. I do. I think it'll look fine. The other thing I wanted to mention is that let me see. Hold on one sec. Let me just back out of that a little bit. The other thing I want to mention is the background patterns work good. I think they're nice fragmentations, and they can indicate snow and ice. And I think they also work pretty well with the mark itself. So, but the only thing that I want to get to is the fact that you haven't really developed much in terms of describing what the background pattern is and where it came from. In other words, what was the origin? What was the inspiration? Did it come from any of these in your preliminary studies? Do you see what I'm saying? So that would be something that would definitely need to be described and explained, as how did we get from here to using the background pattern. Placement is starting to look good. I mean, just continue moving forward with what you're doing, but don't forget, now everything has to make sense here in a conceptual project like this. You know, at one day in the near future, you're going to have portfolio reviewers and potential hiring professionals looking at this work, saying, "Okay, can you describe what this means? These patterned triangular backgrounds. What do they mean, and how do they fit in with the whole concept?" And of course, you'll have to provide a sound answer. So let's address that now. And then the pictograms. I think the pictograms are over here. We've got these pictograms that are looking really good. But again, that looks fantastic. I love that. But the problem I'm seeing is that we haven't got any. This is the only thing we have. Oh, I'm sorry. This is the only thing we have for pictograms. So we go from this to this. So that's a little bit of a jump. So I definitely would like to see, you know, how we got to that point right there, the pictogram. Show your pictogram development. Also show the colors you're using. And right now you've got 2 colors here. So define those colors and show your color usage, and definitely the colors in the patterns. Show your color palettes, accepted color uses in your branding. And then just continue with the placement of your images, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in this upcoming week. Okay, any questions, please let me know. Great job. Thank you.